Ladies and gentlemen, before you spend another dollar on a lottery ticket, stop, breathe, and listen, because what I'm about to tell you may change the way you see luck forever. Imagination is the seed of reality. It is not merely a tool for creative thought or idle fantasy. It is the divine blueprint from which all things are made. Every great invention, every love story, every work of art, every personal success you've ever known or admired first existed within the unseen realm of imagination. Before a single step is taken, before a word is spoken, before the first dollar is earned or the first door opens, the journey begins within the mind. This truth is not new. It's ancient, and yet most ignore it, brushing it off as poetic or symbolic. But those who understand the deeper laws of life, who recognize that the outer world is nothing more than a mirror of inner consciousness, know that imagination is the first cause of all experience. When you imagine, you are not pretending. You are planting. Every vivid, emotionally charged thought is a seed, and like all seeds, it requires attention, nurturing, and belief in its inevitable growth. To imagine is to create. Not someday, not hopefully, but now. The moment you clearly and emotionally envision a reality, that reality begins to unfold. The outer world may take time to conform, but the inner event is instantaneous. You may think, it's just in my mind, but your mind is not limited by your senses. What the eyes cannot yet see, the soul can already feel, and feeling is the key. Imagination alone, without feeling, is like a seed left on a stone. It cannot take root. But when you combine thought with deep emotion, when you feel your imagined outcome as though it were already true, you water the seed, you activate it. And here lies the mystery most never grasp. Your world is not shaped by effort alone, but by the images you consistently hold and emotionally embody. You do not need to figure out how something will happen. You do not need to strain or struggle or beg life to give you what you desire. All you need to do is accept the truth of your imagination as real. Now, and live from that state. Action will follow, inspired and precise, not forced. But it begins with the seed. Consider the lottery or any form of luck. Most people buy a ticket and cross their fingers, hoping for a miracle. But that's not creation. That's chance. True creation begins before the ticket is even touched. It begins in a quiet room, in a still mind, in the sanctuary of inner vision. Imagine the numbers drawn, the phone call received, the balance in your account. Feel the peace, the shock, the gratitude, as though it were happening now. And stay there, not with desperation, but with quiet certainty. You're not waiting, you're claiming. You are stepping into the version of yourself who already has it. This is not about manipulation or superstition. It is about alignment. When your inner world is filled with the vision of the thing desired, and your emotions match that vision, you align yourself with its manifestation. Imagination shapes your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your reality. If you only imagine what's possible based on current conditions, you stay trapped within the limits of those conditions. But when you imagine something greater, freedom, wealth, healing, and you do so boldly and repeatedly, you invite life to rearrange itself to meet you at your vision. You are never imagining just to feel good. You are imagining to create. Every result in your life today, whether you welcome it or not, grew from a seed once planted in your imagination, consciously or unconsciously. You may not remember planting it, but it was there, a repeated thought, a fearful expectation, a hopeful desire, and the soil of life responded faithfully. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is the secret that separates mere wishful thinking from creative power. Hoping, wishing, even longing, These states carry within them the energy of absence. They say, it isn't here yet, and by affirming its absence, they delay its arrival. But when you assume the feeling that your desire is already yours, when you wear it as you would a new skin, you shift your entire being into alignment with the reality you seek. To assume means to take upon oneself. It is an inward act, quiet yet profound. It is not about forcing yourself to be cheerful or pretending for the sake of optimism. It is about entering, emotionally and mentally, into the state of the wish fulfilled. It means bypassing the outer world, which may still contradict your desire, and resting fully in the inner conviction that what you want is already yours. Suppose your desire is to win a large sum of money. Most people, when they buy a lottery ticket, silently whisper, "Please let me win." Their words, though earnest, carry within them the vibration of lack. They are rooted in a belief that they do not yet have. But imagine instead that you already possess the wealth, not someday. Now, feel the weight of that truth. Let your heart expand with the freedom it brings. Let your body relax, as if every financial burden has been lifted. You are not pretending, you are claiming a state. You are entering the inner world where the wish has already come true. This is not imagination for imagination's sake. It is alignment. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are no longer chasing your desire. You are living it. The world around you may not reflect it yet, but that is irrelevant. The world is always a step behind the inner man. It conforms not instantly, but faithfully, to the image and feeling you hold within. Therefore, the work is not in waiting or watching. It is in being the one who already has. This feeling is not merely emotional. It is also energetic. Your vibration changes, your thoughts change. Your actions begin to flow from a new identity, and that is the power of assumption. It transforms you into the version of yourself that your desired reality requires. If you continue to act, think, and feel as one who is waiting, then life will mirror that waiting. But if you act, think, and feel as one who has already received, life will bend to meet that identity. This is why inner work precedes outer manifestation. The moment you enter the state of your fulfilled desire, you no longer look outside yourself for proof. You are the proof. You walk with a subtle confidence, not boastful but certain. You speak less about what might happen and more about what is already so in your inner world. This is not delusion. This is divine creation. The outer world is not the author of your story. It is the reader. It takes its cue from you. The assumption must be vivid. It must be felt fully, not a faint hope, not a fleeting daydream, but a lived experience in the quiet chambers of your imagination. You must dwell there, return to it often, and most importantly, trust it. Trust that feeling it is enough, that it is the cause, and all else will follow. Many sabotage themselves by checking constantly. Has it happened yet? This reveals they never truly assumed the wish fulfilled. They're still negotiating with reality, still measuring faith by what the eyes can see. But true assumption needs no confirmation. It is its own reward. It is calm. It is done. So, before the world can change, you must change your state. Not by effort, but by assumption, by entering into the feeling of already being, having, and living the life you desire. And once you are there, even if just for a few moments, know that you have touched the real power. For everything else begins from that place. The power is in your inner world. Long before you see any result in the outer world, it has already taken root within you. The external is nothing more than a projection, a mirror reflecting your most consistent beliefs, emotions, and assumptions. Life is not happening to you at random. It is responding to you, flowing from you, shaped by the invisible world of your inner convictions. Everything you experience, whether desired or undesired, is an outpicturing of a state that was first accepted inwardly. Most people live backwards. They look outside of themselves for validation, for change, for proof. They think, once I see the results, then I'll believe. Once I win, then I'll feel rich. Once I'm loved, then I'll feel worthy. But the truth is the reverse. You must first believe, and then you will see. You must feel rich before the money comes. You must feel loved before the relationship appears. The inner world is the cause, the outer is merely the effect. What you deeply accept as true within yourself will inevitably express itself in the world around you. If you secretly believe that you are unlucky, unworthy, or always a step behind, life will faithfully mirror those assumptions in the form of missed opportunities, financial struggle, or repeated disappointment. Not because the world is cruel, but because it is obedient. It gives back what you give it in consciousness. When you begin to take full responsibility for your inner world, everything changes. No longer are you a victim of chance or circumstance. You become a deliberate creator. You understand that your thoughts are not idle. Your self-talk is not harmless. Your feelings are not fleeting. Each one is a creative force, a thread being woven into the tapestry of your life. This is why imagination, emotion, and belief are sacred tools. They are not fantasy or escapism. They are the means by which you shape reality. If you want to change your life, change the images you hold in your mind. Change the stories you tell yourself in silence. Change the atmosphere of your inner world, and the outer world must follow. When someone appears to achieve success easily, seemingly by luck or timing, what you're often witnessing is alignment between their inner belief and outer experience. They may not be conscious of it, but within themselves they carry a conviction of success, of worthiness, of expectancy, and so the world responds, the doors open, the right people appear, the resources flow in. But none of that began outside. It began within. Even struggle, repeated and reinforced over time, becomes a self-fulfilling cycle when it is held too tightly in the inner world. This always happens to me, becomes a mantra, and the universe complies. It is not punishing you, it is serving your inner truth. When you change that truth, the service changes. This is not to say you must ignore your outer reality or pretend things are different when they are not. Rather, it is an invitation to recognize where true power lies. You don't need to fix the outer world like rearranging furniture in a burning house. You must change the fire at the source. You must go inward and there adjust the belief, shift the mood, embrace the version of yourself who already lives the life you desire. From that place, you begin to operate with a quiet authority. You no longer seek outside confirmation before choosing how to feel. You begin to feel your way into a new life, not by force but by alignment. And as your inner convictions deepen, solidify, and become more real to you than any temporary condition, the world, like a faithful mirror, reflects them back clearly and without resistance. For it has no choice. It is not the master. It is the canvas. You are the painter. Don't buy from lack. This is not just advice for purchasing a lottery ticket. It is a universal law that applies to every area of life. The energy behind your actions determines the fruit they bear. When you do anything from a place of desperation, fear, or lack, you are planting seeds that can only grow into more of the same. Scarcity begets scarcity. Desperation only reinforces the state of not having. No matter how sincere your desire or how hopeful your heart, If your action is driven by the feeling that you are missing something, you will continue to experience the absence of it. Buying a lottery ticket, it may seem like a harmless action. It's just a small hope, a shot in the dark. But pause for a moment and feel the state you're in when you reach for that ticket. Are you feeling empowered, abundant, secure? Or is there a sense of grasping, of trying to escape your current circumstances, of needing a miracle just to feel safe? That emotional state is the true transaction. The ticket is just a symbol. It carries the energetic imprint of the consciousness in which it was purchased. When you buy from lack, you're affirming to yourself and to life, I do not have enough, I am in need, I am incomplete. That message is subtle but powerful. And the universe, being unerringly obedient, echoes that inner declaration back to you through events, people, and situations that continue to reflect lack. The outer world doesn't respond to your words or your outward gestures. It responds to your state of being. This is why so many people feel stuck in cycles of frustration, even though they're actively trying to change their lives. They work harder, pray louder, hustle longer, but the results don't shift. Why? Because the actions, though persistent, are rooted in fear or lack. They are trying to compensate for what they believe is missing, not realizing that this belief is the very thing perpetuating their struggle. You cannot escape a state by acting from it. You only deepen your roots within it. Imagine, instead, approaching life from a sense of fullness. What if you didn't buy a ticket because you needed to win, but because you already felt prosperous and were simply enjoying the game? What if your action came from joy, curiosity, or playfulness, rather than pressure or despair? That shift in energy changes everything. When you act from abundance, even if the outer evidence isn't fully there yet, you begin to magnetize experiences that match that inner state. You are no longer trying to escape your reality. You are expanding it. It may seem like a small thing, this emotional posture behind your choices, but it's everything. Life is not reacting to what you do. It's reacting to who you are while you do it. And who you are is defined by your dominant inner feeling. If you feel lack, you are embodying lack, and that embodiment must express itself outwardly in your circumstances, not as punishment, but as reflection. So, before you reach for the ticket or make any decision aimed at changing your life, stop. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? What am I feeling right now? If the answer is panic, need, or emptiness, don't move forward until you shift your state. Breathe, return to the truth that you are the source, not the ticket. The abundance you seek is not in a number drawn from a machine. It is in the energy you carry. Cultivate the feeling of already having, already being, already fulfilled. Then, if you still feel moved to buy, do so with lightness and calm, not because you need to win, but because you've already won within. That is when miracles happen, not from force, but from alignment. When you no longer beg for what you want, but walk as though it's already yours. Life must rise to meet that vibration, live in the end. This is one of the most powerful principles you can ever embody if you truly wish to reshape your life. It means feeling, thinking, and acting as if your desire has already been fulfilled. It means occupying the emotional, mental, and spiritual state of the version of you who already has the thing you want, not in the future, not someday, but now. It is not about hoping to win, but living from the place where the win has already occurred. This is not mere imagination. It is alignment with the outcome as though it were already fact. Most people live in a state of perpetual waiting. They hope, they wish, they dream, but all of these are mental postures that place the fulfillment of their desire somewhere ahead of them, always in the distance. Hope can be a beautiful thing, but it is passive. It says, I don't have it yet, but maybe one day I will. This might feel good momentarily, but it carries with it the vibration of absence. It keeps your desire out of reach by affirming, consciously or unconsciously, that you are not yet where you want to be. Living in the end bypasses all of that. It requires you to take your attention off current conditions, off appearances, and place it entirely upon the end result. It invites you to feel the relief, the joy, the excitement of already having, already being, already knowing. It asks you to dwell mentally and emotionally in the completed picture. If your desire is to win the lottery, don't feel the tension of waiting for the numbers to be drawn. Feel the stillness asterisk after asterisk the win. Feel the weight of certainty, the shift in your breath, the freedom in your chest. What would you do the next day? How would you walk? What would you no longer worry about? This is not about tricking yourself or pretending for the sake of it. It is about moving your consciousness into harmony with the reality you seek. When you live in the end, you are no longer in pursuit. You are in possession. Your feelings reflect it. Your posture reflects it. Your decisions start to change to match that version of your life. You begin to embody the energy of the fulfilled state, and in doing so, you activate the mechanism by which the unseen becomes seen. The world around you may still look the same. Your bank account might not reflect your inner transformation yet, but reality is always catching up with belief. Living in the end isn't about denial, it's about precedence. The inner must come before the outer. Just as a tree exists in the seed long before it appears above ground, your manifested life exists first in your assumption, in your sustained inner experience of already being there. The great challenge is consistency. It's easy to dip into the end state briefly and then fall back into old patterns, checking the bank balance, looking for signs, wondering if it's working. But every time you do that, you return to the state of not having. Living in the end means staying there, emotionally and mentally, regardless of outer evidence. It means refusing to be moved by appearances, trusting that they are transient and secondary. You don't need to see the how. You don't need to know the details. Your job is not to force the outcome, but to inhabit it energetically. When you fully feel what it's like to have your desire fulfilled, and you persist in that state day after day, reality reshapes itself to match. People will call it coincidence, luck, or divine intervention, but it is simply the law of consciousness in action. Live in the end, not in the hope. Become the version of yourself who already has the life you desire, and let the world catch up. Detach from the how. This is one of the most liberating truths you can ever embrace. When you set a clear intention for what you desire and fully assume the feeling of its fulfillment, the asterisk, how asterisk, the mechanism, the sequence of events, the path it takes to reach you, is not your responsibility. Your role is not to manipulate the outcome, not to chase after solutions, not to control each step of the process. Your role is to dwell in the end and trust that life, with all its infinite intelligence, will bring it about in its own perfect way. The moment you try to figure out asterisk, how asterisk your desire will manifest, you shift your awareness from the end result back to the problem. You move from faith to doubt, from certainty to confusion. The truth is, the how is always outside the scope of your conscious control. It belongs to a greater intelligence that knows how to orchestrate people, events, timing, and circumstances in ways your logical mind cannot conceive. When you try to take that job into your own hands, you're no longer creating, you're interfering. Consider the act of planting a seed. You don't dig it up every few hours to make sure the roots are forming. You trust the process. You water it. You give it sunlight. And you wait with expectancy. knowing that growth is happening even when you can't see it. Manifestation is no different. Once you've planted the desire with clarity and conviction, your job is not to micromanage its arrival. It is to keep the soil of your inner world fertile with belief, gratitude, and calm. This doesn't mean you do nothing. Inspired action may come, and when it does, it will be clear, effortless, and timely. But that action flows from alignment, not from force. You are not acting to make it happen . You are acting because it is happening. That's a very different energy. Forced action often stems from fear, lack, and impatience. Inspired action, however, arises from stillness, from an inner knowing that what you desire is already on its way. The how is not only unknown, it is often beyond anything you could predict. What you think is the only possible path may not be the path at all. Life can move in ways that are utterly surprising, seemingly unrelated, and yet perfectly precise. Doors can open that you didn't know existed. People can appear out of nowhere. One small encounter can change the entire direction of your life. But none of that can happen if you're too busy forcing your own narrow version of how it should happen. Detachment is not indifference. It is not giving up. It is the deepest form of trust. It says, I know what I want. I believe it is already mine, and I release the need to control how it comes. That is the posture of power. That is when the unseen begins to move. Every time you let go of the how, you reaffirm your faith in the end. You tell life, I trust you to surprise me. I trust the intelligence that breathed me into existence to guide this process. And in doing so, you open yourself to a reality far more abundant, more beautiful, and more effortless than anything you could have planned on your own. Stay focused on the feeling of already having it. Let that be your anchor. Let your imagination be filled with the joy of the result, not the worry of the method. The path will reveal itself in its own time, and when it does, it will feel natural, even obvious. You'll look back and smile at how everything came together without your needing to chase, push, or force. Detach from the how and remain loyal to the vision. The rest will unfold with quiet perfection. Speak it into being. Every word you speak, whether aloud or in the privacy of your own mind, carries power. Your inner dialogue is not harmless chatter. It is the blueprint of your reality. You are constantly declaring who you are, what you expect, and what you believe about yourself and the world. And because consciousness is creative, what you consistently affirm becomes what you eventually experience. You do not wait for your life to change so you can speak differently. You change your life by speaking differently now. The words you use shape the state you occupy. If you say, I never catch a break, you are claiming a state of misfortune. If you say, things always work out for me, you are claiming a state of alignment and ease. The outer world does not initiate the truth, it reflects it. So when your inner dialogue begins to echo the reality you desire rather than the one you see, you initiate a shift in consciousness that the world must eventually mirror. This is not about pretending or lying to yourself. It is about aligning your words with the reality you choose to dwell in. You may not yet see the evidence of your desire, but that does not mean it isn't real. The seed of your new life is planted the moment you speak it with conviction. I am abundant. I am successful. I am chosen. I am free. These are not just affirmations. They are creative acts. Each time you declare them, you are reinforcing the identity of the person who already has what you want. Speak these words not with strain, but with certainty. Speak them not to convince yourself, but to remind yourself. You are not trying to make them true. They are true in the realm of consciousness, and your job is to stay loyal to that truth until it manifests in form. The more consistently you speak from that place, the more your thoughts, feelings, and actions align with that state. And from that alignment, results are born. Your inner conversation is running all day, whether you're aware of it or not. Most of the time, it is repeating the past, old beliefs, old disappointments, old doubts. You must interrupt that pattern and replace it with language that supports your vision. If your mind begins to say, "I'll never get there," gently correct it. "I'm already on the path." If it says, "This always happens to me," affirm, "Things are shifting in my favor now." This is not delusion, it is discipline. You are retraining your mind to speak the language of your future, not your past. Even when nothing seems to be happening, speak as though everything is happening. Even when the evidence isn't visible, speak as though the unseen is already in motion, because it is. Creation begins in the unseen. The words you speak today are seeds that will bloom tomorrow. If you plant words of doubt, fear, and failure, do not be surprised when they grow. But if you plant words of faith, joy, and certainty, you cultivate a reality that matches them. You are always speaking something into being. The question is, what are you choosing to affirm? Are you reinforcing the story you want to leave behind, or the one you wish to live? The choice is yours in every moment, and every time you choose to speak from your desired state, you strengthen it, you give it life, you shift your vibration. You become, internally, the person who already lives in that new reality, and that internal shift is what causes the external world to rearrange itself around you. So do not underestimate your words. They are not mere sounds. They are instructions to the universe. Let your inner dialogue speak life, wholeness, abundance, and certainty. Speak it into being, not because you're waiting to believe it, but because belief begins with what you dare to declare. Be still and know, within that simple instruction lies the key to unlocking the life you truly desire. In a world that thrives on movement, noise, and external validation, stillness may seem counterintuitive, even unproductive. But in truth, stillness is where the greatest power lies. When you become still, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally, you step out of the chaos of reaction and into the clarity of creation. It is in stillness that knowing emerges, and knowing is far greater than hoping, wishing, or even believing. Knowing is certainty without evidence. Knowing is peace before the proof. Doubts and fears are loud. They clamor for your attention, masquerading as reason, logic, and realism. They whisper, "Be careful. What if it doesn't work? You've failed before." These voices often wear the mask of practicality, but underneath they are rooted in fear. They are not protecting you, they are restricting you. Doubt is the voice of an old identity that does not yet recognize the new version of yourself you are becoming. Fear is the echo of past pain trying to project itself into your future. And logic, when it flows from those energies, is merely the mind's attempt to stay safe by staying small. Stillness is the only way to quiet those voices. When you are still, you step into the silence beyond mental noise. You detach from the frantic search for answers and begin to receive the truth that was already present within you. You don't need to solve everything from the surface level of mind. You need only to return to the stillness where the deeper knowing lies. It does not shout, it does not argue, it simply is. And the more you dwell in that quiet place, the more you remember what your soul already knows. In stillness, you realize you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. You watch doubt arise, and you do not panic. You feel fear stirring, and you do not obey it. You observe these patterns without becoming them, and in doing so, you reclaim your power. Doubts lose their grip not because you fought them, but because you no longer feed them. Fear fades not because you suppressed it, but because you stopped believing its story. Knowing cannot be forced. It comes when the mind releases its grip and the heart takes over. It is a subtle shift, like exhaling after holding your breath for too long. You simply arrive in the now, and in that presence, all urgency dissolves. You no longer need proof to feel secure. You no longer need to convince yourself. You just know asterisk. And that knowing becomes the foundation of your reality. From this stillness, clarity emerges. You begin to see through illusion. You recognize how much of your life has been shaped by reaction rather than intention. You see how doubt delayed your steps, how fear colored your vision, and yet you do not judge yourself. You simply choose again. From stillness, you choose alignment. From knowing, you choose power. This is why stillness is not passivity. It is mastery. In stillness, you are not doing nothing. You are doing the most important thing. You are aligning with the truth that is always stable, always present, always whole. And from that centered place, you can move forward, not anxiously, not desperately, but deliberately. Action taken from knowing is more effective than 1,000 frantic efforts fueled by doubt. The world will continue to offer reasons to fear. The mind will continue to suggest detours disguised as logic. But when you become still, you are no longer tossed by every wave. You become the calm center in the storm, the silent presence that shapes reality from within. You no longer need to ask, "Will it work?" because you know the answer. And that knowing, rooted in stillness, is the birthplace of all true transformation. Repetition of inner vision is key. The mind is shaped not by what it sees once, but by what it sees again and again, until it begins to accept that vision as reality. Your imagination is the workshop of creation, and what you repeatedly dwell upon becomes the blueprint of your lived experience. One brief moment of visualization, no matter how vivid, is not enough to impress the deeper layers of consciousness. It is the persistent revisiting of your desired state, again and again, until it becomes familiar, that causes it to harden into fact. To revisit your desire fulfilled is not to fantasize idly or daydream without intention. It is to enter the scene of your fulfilled wish with such emotional richness, such detail and conviction, that your inner world begins to shift. And when that inner shift becomes your dominant state, when it feels more natural to dwell in the assumption of your fulfilled desire than in the memory of your current condition, then, and only then, does the outer world begin to rearrange itself to reflect the new pattern. The subconscious mind responds to repetition. It is like soil. Whatever seed is planted in it and nourished consistently will grow, whether that seed is fear or faith, limitation or expansion. A single visualization may stir inspiration, but it is the repeated vision, felt and lived within daily, that takes root in the subconscious. Your job is to plant the seed of your desire with clarity, and then revisit it often enough that the mind can no longer distinguish between imagination and reality. That's when belief is born, not through struggle, but through saturation. Think of the person you wish to become, the life you wish to live. Create a scene that implies it is already done. It might be a moment of celebration, a quiet sense of peace, or an everyday occurrence in your future life. Feel the tone of that scene. What are you seeing, hearing, touching? What are you feeling emotionally? Allow yourself to enter it as fully as you would enter a memory. Let it become a new memory, rehearsed so many times that it begins to feel like something you've already lived. Each time you return to this vision, it becomes more vivid, more natural, more yours. And with each repetition, you weaken the grip of the old identity, the version of you who believed the desire was far away. You begin to shift the sense of I am from someone who wants to someone who has. This is not about forcing belief, but nurturing it gently through repeated immersion in the desired state. Eventually, it feels so real within you that it would feel strange not asterisk, to live that reality. Doubt fades with familiarity. The more often you experience something internally, the less resistance the mind offers. It no longer sees the desire as foreign or improbable. It accepts it, welcomes it, even expects it. This is how the miraculous becomes mundane, not because it loses its beauty, but because it becomes normal to you, and what feels normal on the inside must eventually manifest on the outside. You don't need to visualize for hours or in a state of strain. Just return to your inner scene consistently, with feeling. A few minutes of heartfelt, focused inner vision, repeated daily, is more powerful than hours of wishful thinking. The goal is not quantity, but emotional quality. And repetition is what builds that emotional depth. Over time, your inner world becomes saturated with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and from that saturation, creation flows. Let repetition become your rhythm. Let the vision become your dwelling place, your secret home. No matter what the outer world looks like, return inward. Revisit your fulfilled desire not to escape reality, but to create it. In time, what was once only imagined will feel inevitable, and when it feels inevitable, it must appear. Let go of the ticket. The ticket is not your source, not your savior, and not the means by which abundance finds you. It is merely a symbol, a shadow of the real power that brings things into form, your consciousness. As long as you attach your faith, your hope, and your sense of security to the object itself, whether it's a lottery ticket, a job offer, a partner, or a particular circumstance, you give your power away. You begin to worship the tool instead of the truth. And the truth is this: consciousness is the only creative force. The moment you believe the tick, it is what changes your life. You subtly affirm that without it, you are powerless. You begin to think in terms of chance, odds, and probability. You begin to consult statistics instead of inner knowing. You hope that something outside yourself will deliver to you what you don't believe you already possess. But this mindset is a distortion. It reinforces lack. It says, my abundance is out there, and I must chase it, wait for it, or win it. It turns you into a beggar instead of a creator. The tick, it is not the cause. It is only a potential channel. It is not the source of wealth. It is a possible avenue through which wealth might appear. If not through the ticket, then through a business idea, a gift, a new connection, or an unexpected turn of events. When you let go of the object and rest your attention on the state of already having, you no longer need the ticket to prove your worthiness or unlock your fortune. You are no longer bound by the illusion that wealth must come in one specific way. Letting go of the ticket does not mean throwing it away. It means releasing the emotional weight you've placed upon it. It means understanding that nothing has power over you except the meanings you assign. You can buy a ticket in joy, in lightness, in curiosity, but not in desperation. You can hold it in your hand while knowing that the real power was never in the paper. It was in the consciousness that led you to it, and the consciousness that can create with or without it. Many people focus so intently on the outcome of one thing, a job application, an interview, a proposal, that they forget their true source. They shrink their infinite creative power into a narrow expectation, and then suffer when that specific channel doesn't open. But channels change. What matters is the state you're in. Are you aligned with abundance or lack? Are you resting in the knowing that all is unfolding for you? Or are you holding tightly to a single outcome out of fear that nothing else will come? When you let go of the ticket, you release the strain, you open yourself to greater possibilities, you allow life to surprise you, you trust that what is yours cannot be kept from you, and what is not yours cannot stay. You stop living from the belief that something external must complete you, and instead live from the inner realization that you are already whole, already connected to the source of all. This doesn't mean you don't take action or that you float through life passively. It means your actions are no longer rooted in fear or lack. You may still buy the ticket, but you do it from a place of ease and playfulness, not need. You hold it lightly because your faith no longer rests in things. It rests in being. Abundance is not won, it is allowed. It flows through the channel of your own self-concept. When you let go of the ticket, you return to that truth. You remember that the source of wealth, love, peace, and freedom is within. It always was, it always will be. The ticket is just one expression of what you already are capable of receiving, and when you stop clinging to it, you finally become free to receive far more. Walk as one who already has. This is not an act of pretense. It is a practice of alignment. When you carry yourself as if your desire is already fulfilled, you signal to your mind and body that the change has already occurred. You are not trying to convince others or perform for the world. You are solidifying your own internal state. The way you walk, speak, breathe, and respond in everyday life reflects whether you live in lack or in the certainty of fulfillment. And when your external conduct mirrors your inner assumption, reality bends to match it. Imagine the version of you who has already received what you desire. How do they carry themselves? How do they speak about life, about money, about relationships, about themselves? There is no hesitation in their step, no tightness in their tone, no anxiety in their breath. There is a natural confidence, not arrogance, but peace. There is ease in their shoulders, lightness in their movement, a quiet power in their presence. They're not striving, they're receiving. They're not reacting to the world, they're moving through it with purpose and calm assurance. To walk as one who already has is to embody the state of the wish, fulfilled long before the outer world reflects it. Most people wait until circumstances change before they adjust their energy, but this reverses the process of creation. The inner state must come first. When you walk in faith, the world responds. When you walk in doubt, the world delays. Action taken from a state of I don't yet have it reinforces the belief in lack. But when action flows from the state of it is already mine, the world organizes itself accordingly. You are always broadcasting something through your being, not just your words, but your energy, your body language, your choices. Even when you are silent, you are speaking volumes. When you assume the state of already having, your tone softens, your decisions become clearer, and your presence becomes magnetic. People respond to you differently, not because of the change in your circumstances, but because of the shift in your identity. This is not about faking anything. It's about remembering who you truly are, the one who already possesses the thing you seek. The moment you declared the desire and felt it real within, it was yours in the realm of consciousness. What you are doing now is allowing that inner reality to become your dominant vibration. You are rehearsing the role not to impress others, but to impress the subconscious. Repetition of this embodiment makes it feel natural. And what feels natural must manifest. When you walk as one who already has, you no longer ask, when will it come? Because you live in the assumption that it already has. You no longer wait for signs, you become the sign. You make decisions from abundance, not fear. You approach others with confidence, not neediness. You invest in yourself because you know your worth. Every gesture, every step, every word confirms that you are already in possession of what once felt distant. This way of being doesn't require dramatic gestures. It shows up in subtle choices, the way you dress, the way you handle challenges, the way you spend your time. It shows up in the pause before you speak, the ease with which you say no, the groundedness with which you say yes. All of it flows from a self-concept that says, I am already there. To walk as one who already has is to live from the end, not towards it. It is to embody the future now. And as you walk in that state, not once, not occasionally, but consistently, you draw to yourself the people, opportunities, and experiences that match your internal world. The outer world becomes a mirror, and what it reflects will no longer surprise you. It will simply confirm what you've known all along. ***, conclusion of the speech. Just do this before you buy your next lottery ticket. ***, before you reach for your next lottery ticket, pause and turn inward. The true power lies not in numbers printed on a slip of paper, but in the state of consciousness you occupy. Buying from hope rooted in lack only multiplies that lack. But when you buy from a place of fullness, from the deep, quiet knowing that you are already in possession of the life you desire, everything changes. You are not here to gamble on chance. You are here to awaken to your creative authority. Every thought, every word, every feeling, every image you repeatedly hold within is a command to life. The ticket may be one channel, but it is never the source. You are the source. What matters most is not what you hold in your hand, but what you hold in your imagination and assume to be true. Live in the end, feel the result now, speak it into being, walk in the world as the one who already has, and then, if you still feel inspired to buy the ticket, do it not with desperation, but with the calm joy of someone who already knows their outcome is certain. You're not chasing luck, you're aligning with law. You're not gambling, you're creating. So before you act, align. Before you hope, assume. Before you chase, embody. Just do this inner shift, and watch how life, not luck, begins to work in your favor.